It's December 14th, 2025. Bondi Beach, Sydney. It's just after 6:30 in the evening. Families of the Jewish community are gathered near the shoreline. Children sit on the grass. They're here to celebrate Hanukkah, a Jewish festival that commemorates the rededication of the temple in Jerusalem and is celebrated by lighting candles over 8 nights. The prayer is underway, voices together, facing the water, marking a night meant for light. And then, within minutes, the sound cuts through everything. Gunfire. At first, people don't understand what they're hearing. Fireworks, maybe. A car backfiring. But the sound doesn't stop. It comes again. And again. People start running. By the time the first emergency calls reach police, the celebration has dissolved into chaos. Parents are searching for their children. Strangers are pulling each other off the ground. The beach, moments ago full of music, becomes a place people are trying to escape. 16 people will be dead by the end of the night. This is how it happened. Let's go back. Earlier that evening, just before sunset, Armchair Park near Bondi Beach is filling up. The event, Hanukkah by the Sea, has been advertised publicly. There's food, music, speeches planned. The atmosphere is relaxed. It's open. Anyone can walk through. It appeared to be an ideal summer afternoon at Bondi Beach, the nation's iconic seaside spot. The Hanukkah celebration by the ocean had commenced on the grassy area adjacent to the shore. Numerous attendees, including families with kids and older folks from the Jewish group, were marking the initial evening of the holiday. On the road, everything seemed typical for a weekend. A light-colored SUV parked in a spot on a nearby lane off the main boulevard. They weren't visitors. They carried heavy weaponry. In the rear of the car, they inspected their equipment, which included several semi-automatic rifles. They also had a container with simple homemade bombs. They left the explosives inside the vehicle as a backup hazard before exiting. Clad in dark combat gear, they avoided the beach and instead proceeded to the overhead walkway, the raised area above Armchair Park. They arrived at their position around 6:40 p.m. Above the park, near an elevated pedestrian walkway, people are moving as they always do on a summer night. Nothing appears out of place. At approximately 6:40 p.m., the first shots are fired. Police say there are 2 attackers. According to reports, they were a family, father and son. The perpetrators were a parent-child team, named as 50-year-old Sajid Akram and his 24-year-old son, Navid Akram. Sajid, the elder, had come to Australia from Pakistan back in 1998 via a study permit and eventually gained full residency. As a registered gun holder, he lawfully owned the half-dozen extended-barrel firearms employed in the incident. His son, Navid, born in Australia, had recently lost his job as a construction worker. Relatives portrayed him as reserved and unsociable, someone who liked pursuits such as angling and underwater exploration. Although they informed their kin they were off for a fishing outing to a southern bay, they actually orchestrated a deliberate assault. Authorities subsequently found symbols linked to extremist groups and homemade bombs in their vehicle. Back in 2019, Navid underwent scrutiny by the National Intelligence Agency due to ties with a presumed radical network in the city, though he was deemed non-threatening at that point with no clear signs of imminent danger. These 3D animations take time to make, and with events happening every day, our team needs to work quickly to get you these videos as soon as possible. That's why we use the AI Storycraft Studio, an all-in-one platform to create our scripts, edit our videos, and monetize our content, all powered with AI-trained models. You can check out the full system in the link in the description and use code FINT to get an exclusive 10% off your first month. The 2 men had been planning the attack on Bondi Beach for months. The father and son filmed themselves training with guns back in October. The pair traveled to Bondi Beach undercover 2 nights before the attack to make themselves familiar with the bridge from which the shots were fired. They were also filmed leaving their flat on the day of the attack that they had been renting for the past 2 months. Since the attack, Australia's Prime Minister apologized to the Jewish community.
Emotions were raw and a lot of people in the community are hurting and angry. And some of that anger was directed towards me, and I understand that. As Prime Minister, I feel the weight of responsibility for an atrocity that happened whilst I'm Prime Minister. And I'm sorry for what the Jewish community and our nation as a whole has experienced.
Beneath them, the Hanukkah event beside the water was fully underway. Countless individuals were present. From the walkway, the assailants had an open, clear view, positioned high up and out of sight from those below. At about 6:45 p.m, the initial rounds were discharged. One struck a young girl of 10 near the platform. Visitors plunged into the waves, frantically paddling offshore. By 6:48 p.m, the duo separated to expand their coverage. The older one descended to the street. That's when the tide turned as he knelt by a vehicle to refill ammo. The alleged gunmen behind the Bondi Beach attack are suspected of using legally obtained firearms to commit the massacre. Sajid Akram, the father, had a firearms license with 6 weapons registered to him. All 6 firearms have been recovered, police said. 4 of these weapons, long arms believed to include a rifle and shotgun, were seized at the scene in Bondi, with other weapons also found during a police raid at a house in Kamsi in Sydney's southwest. A man near the edge of the park sees one of the gunmen at close range. Video later confirms what happens next.
Oh! That man is a genuine hero.
Unarmed, he runs toward the shooter from behind. His name is al-Ahmed. He tackles the attacker, wrestling the weapon away. The struggle is violent and fast. People nearby are still running, unaware of what's happening just meters away from them. Ahmed is injured in the process, but the gun is no longer firing. Police later say this intervention likely saved lives. Meanwhile, officers are racing toward the scene from multiple directions. Cameras capture officers moving through crowds still trying to flee, stepping over dropped belongings, shouting commands that are barely heard over the noise. Police encounter the second attacker. Shots are exchanged. Around 6:50 p.m, the initial group of officers reached the area. The assailants sensed their window closing. They shifted positions sporadically. Over the following quarter hour, the location resembled a battlefield. By 7:08 p.m, specialized teams had them cornered. In a fierce final shootout, sharpshooters struck true. One of the suspects, the father, Sajid Akram, is killed at the scene. The second, his son, Naveed Akram, is critically wounded and taken to hospital under police guard. He has since been charged with 59 offenses, including murder and terrorism. By this point, the shooting has lasted somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. No official timeline has pinned it down more precisely yet. When the gunfire stops, the reality of what's happened begins to settle in. The park is no longer a place of celebration, it's a mass casualty scene. Paramedics arrive to find dozens of people wounded. Some are treated on the sand, others are moved onto nearby roads. Ambulances line Campbell Parade. Helicopters circle overhead. Hospitals across Sydney go into emergency mode. Police establish a wide exclusion zone. Bomb squad officers are called in after investigators locate improvised explosive devices connected to the attackers. Additional searches are launched later that night in suburbs across the city. As the hours pass, the numbers become clearer. 16 people are dead. 40 others are injured. 42 are taken to hospital, including children. The youngest victim is only 10 years old. The oldest is 87. 2 police officers are among the injured. By midnight, the NSW police commissioner confirms the attack is being treated as terrorism. Names begin to emerge in the following days of victims of the attackers as families are notified and investigations continue. Authorities stress that details are still being verified and that misinformation is spreading rapidly online. What is clear is this: the attack exploited openness, a public gathering. There was no barriers, no security perimeter. A normal summer evening by the sea. In the days after, flowers appear along the beachfront. Candles are relit. Prayers are said again, this time for the dead. For investigators, the work is just beginning. Mapping movements, verifying timelines, tracing weapons, understanding how 2 men were able to bring firearms and explosives into one of Australia's most iconic public spaces. This reconstruction is based on what we know now, And as more facts emerge, the story of that night in Bondi will continue to change. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Comment down below what videos you'd like to see next.